Yeah, hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing Cities in Motion 2. I'm going to continue where I left off. First of all, I'm going to give you an update on this intersection. The intersection became jammed. It wasn't a deadlock, but what happened was the traffic was moving more slowly than was intended. So I made some changes. The number 3 line is going to cross over and go down to the lower level, and we're going to see how that works out. The other thing I did was I added a highway, an elevated highway. You can see it here. And the highway goes around the outside of the North Island. There's no traffic jams on my highway system, but I'm sure that there will be at some point. But it starts from over here, and it comes down and around. And the way I do the intersections is by extending the avenues out over the water and then making the connection. And I try to make the connections as equal as possible for north and southbound. There's a few exceptions. This is one of the exceptions. A little bit crazy, but as you can see, there is a road that goes, there's a tunnel under the water, and I made connections to that because there should be a lot of traffic going over that. So I bring the highway all the way around, even to this side of the map. What I do sometimes is I cut the highway through here. The highway can go elevated over this road, for example, and cut across. And I'll probably make a shortcut that will reconnect to the main highway. I had to go around this particular depot. The highway had to split. I made as many connections as I could. I missed a few. This is what the interchanges look like. Keep in mind that the road going horizontally was a pre-existing road. I made no changes to this road. On my 8 line, which is right here, I finished adding underpasses. You can see it's good for pedestrians. It's good for the 8 line to make its way across. And over on the 13, I probably made a few more bridges. The other thing that I did was I added a depot, which is right here. And the reason why is because the 15 line basically runs north and south along here, along that road in the center of the screen. So instead of heading all the way back towards the center and wasting time going all those avenues over to get to his main drag, I decided to build a depot which only has one line on it. I can add the 17 line because the 17 line also comes to this area. But the 17 line crosses over to the original to the depot on the South Island. So it's really not necessary. I'm not going to have any jams with that line. There's a little bit of congestion over here. Nothing to scream about. And I did make it so that there's an underpass over here, and trains are taking this underpass in order to ease up on some of the congestion. And now there's no more congestion on this intersection, which used to have, this used to be the second busiest intersection, no longer is. 10, 20, 31, 32, 42. There's a few too many buses here, so I'm sorry, trams. So the trams can't get in. And the north, this other station, this other depot, probably also has too many trams, so it's difficult for the trams to get in. I don't mind if they're queued up over here because there's no passengers, as long as they don't block traffic. So there's a line of traffic over here that I think is too long, and I want to do something about it. We got the 13. See how he's doing. The 13 is somewhat close. And the 13 could easily go to the depot that's the new depot that's right next to it. Let's see where line 11 is. Line 11 is going all the way around the map on the northern half. So what I could easily do is take that line. In fact, it's over here on the south, and just bring it over into the lower depot, and then bring it across. It looks like it'll be a lot more efficient if I do it that way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix tram line 11. I'm going to bring it down to the lower level. So I'm going to check to see if it makes any stops. Well, let's remove the waypoints, because the waypoints are part of the problem. And I'm going to remove the depot. Let's see if I can add this. It did add it, but it's still trying to go somewhere up here. So we got to find if there's a stop. This is line 8. This is line 11. Number 151 has to go. The waypoint afterwards will take away. And it looks like that's it. I'm looking at the mini map, and on the based on what I'm seeing on the mini map, and based on what I'm seeing in front of me, it looks like it was successful transfer. So we're going to count. It's the 14 plus the 7 is 21, 32, 43, 49, 59. I'm short 5 trams, so I'm going to buy 5 more. I might have some extra vehicles that you don't have because I did purchase the DLC for various vehicles. Okay, so the 11 trains that are over here that are in the queue are going to disappear. They're sharing the line with the 13, which means that the 13 is going to have an easier time getting in. All these 11s here are going to go away. That's going to speed up things immensely. I periodically check my traffic. This type of a highway tends to become busy because of all the people that are going to this part of the map, which has no public transportation. So I expect the traffic to pick up at some point on these roads. There is some light traffic. Nothing major. No traffic jams. There used to be traffic jams, but the changes that I made fixed the traffic jams. Basically, I made as many off-ramps as possible to get people off the highway and into the city. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to make some highways that go through these roads. You could fit a 2-lane road right through here between these buildings going east-west. It's going to be one way, and then the other way coming back will be on another road, such as this one right here. So I'm going to be adding those highways soon. Let's see if there's any traffic jams anywhere. It looks like there's just a lot of congestion over here. But that's going to be there until we get rid of that 11 line. I could get rid of it right now. The way to do it is to click on tram line 11 and the little green circle. Just click that, turn it red. All those trains disappear. Bring it back to green again. I don't know if those trains go to the new depot or not. We're going to find out. It looks like they don't. 10, that's 14, 21, 32, 43, 49, 59. So it did not transfer them to the new depot. All the 11 line is going to start coming out of the new depot, but all those trains are being stored in the old depot. This is 10, 20, 30, 35, 36, 45, 56, 61, 71, 77. So I have 70 extra trains, and that's going to cause a lot of congestion coming into the depot. So I got to get rid of a lot of these trains. Got to get rid of 70 of them. A lot of work to do. The other way to do it is to change the schedule so that the trains leave more frequently. But I checked my stops, and it didn't look like people were waiting, so I think I'm doing okay. I'm going to remove as many of the trains that are in the depot as I can. It's unlikely that I'm going to get rid of 70 trains just from the depot. I'm not going to do it all at once. I'm going to do it gradually over time. Eventually, I'll knock down those 70 trains and free up that depot. There's another way that you can do it. You can actually move vehicles to another depot. There's an option to do that. What you do is you select over here. You can move to another depot using that option. Because I'm playing with the sandbox mode, I don't have to worry about the costs. So I'm just selling them, and I'll repurchase as I need. I've played without the sandbox before, and it's like I said, you got to get the monorails and the green trains. I don't have any of the green trains yet. They're very profitable. They move a lot of people. And if you just run buses, it's very difficult to be profitable in the game. A lot of trains are queuing up on the lower depot. The whole entire line is packed. It looks okay. I think it'll. Oh, the reason why is because I reset tram line 11. It has 0 trains out there. All those trains need to come out of the depot. So that's why. And once I get tram line 11 going, it should clear up a bit. This depot looks good. The other one is around here somewhere. There's the other one. There's basically nothing. It only services one line. And I wanted to check this crossover. It looks pretty good. See, there's a lot of people walking on the bridge. That's not good. You don't want people walking on the bridge. If there's people walking on the bridge, that's a bad sign. That means that they waited too long and they abandoned their stop. And you don't want that to happen. And you definitely don't want them to go onto the highway. If they go on the expressway, there's not enough room for them to walk, and they'll block all the on-ramps and the off-ramps. Okay, so I got all the underpasses. I could obviously add one in over here. I could do another underpass. But the reason why I did it is because I put these stops at this intersection. And the reason why is because you want to have a bus line come through here and put a stop over here so he can pick up those passengers. Not necessary, but that's the way I would do it. I would look at the coverage map, and you'll notice that there's some gaps. And the way to fill up the gaps is to run buses. You run the bus from this red area to this red area to this red area, just in a random pattern. It doesn't have to be a straight line. I probably have a route here that fills in most of the gaps, just doing a weird pattern from place to place. We still have a few too many trains on this road over here, going east and west. Not really backed up, but you want those trains moving as fast as possible. You want them to be hauling passengers. You don't want them to be getting ready to haul passengers. Now you'll notice that the 10 line is on the outside. That's actually a mistake. The 10 line should not be there. Yeah, the 10 line should come in on the inside lane. So I'm going to fix that. Over here to here. You don't want trains to cross over the lines of other trains. And that's what it's doing. So I have to go here. I have to remove the final. Actually, I don't know if it's going to have a waypoint. Let's see. It says 156. Yeah. This right here is an example of a crossover where the trains are crossing over each other. And the reason why it's bad is because if the 10 filled up the inbound, then the 10 for the outbound, there's actually a 10 right here. If the inbound is filled up with 10 and the outbound is blocked and that fills up, then no 10 can go in, no 10 can come out, and you'll have a traffic jam. So you want to avoid crossovers as much as possible. In this case, we have one because this line is circumnavigating. It goes east, comes from the west, goes back in. Okay, so that's line 10. That should make it flow a little bit easier. And the way to fix the crossover is to make a bridge or an underpass. The other thing that you want to do, if you really, really, really want to make it easy, this road is actually this road over here. I know it's those trains will come back. Referring to this road, it's difficult to highlight it. This road is short. If you want it to be easier going in and out, make it longer. Make it twice as long. Make it come from one of these other intersections. And same with this road over here. It's just too short. If you make it substantially longer, then you'll have less hassle. The other thing that you can do is you can make a circle. You can make it so that all of these trains have to go in a circle in a spiral and then go around a second time and then into the station. So you'll have trains on top of trains on their way in. You'll have an upper level and a lower level, and you can get more trains in less space. There's a moderate amount of traffic on the highway. You can see we've got some traffic lining up over here, but there's no serious traffic jam. I don't know if I need more population or what. Usually the traffic starts to pick up and starts to jam at certain areas. This is an area where I would expect there to be a traffic jam. And this area over here. This is probably a strong candidate for having a traffic jam at some point. The question is when. Now this is the elevated highway that comes with the map. I made a few changes. I made a service road. So if you want to get on and off, the guys that are getting on and off are going to take this road. And they merge back on, or they can get off to the regular road. Here's an example of where they get off and on. And they use this lane if they want to go fast and they want to bypass as many of these on-ramps and off-ramps as possible. So you can see here's where the road actually makes a split at the actual south of the island, and then it rejoins at the north. So right now it bypasses the entire island if you take this route. Doesn't have to be done that way. That happens. In fact, I never do it that way, but for this game I did. I didn't make a service road for the southbound traffic, and the reason why is because there's just no traffic jam. But at some point I'll have to do it. And like I said before, there is a bug in the game that causes vehicles to just suddenly stop. I've got all these buses here that just aren't moving. I don't know why. They're just sitting there. It's way too many. At some point, you're going to want to build buildings in the unused space, which is this part of the map. Basically, what you have to do is build roads. You're going to want to have some of the big roads, such as these avenues, because you're going to need the avenues in order to put trams and in order to put monorails through and elevated highways and things like that. So nothing major, no major upgrade. It looks like everything's going along pretty good. I made a wise decision by moving that 11 line. We got some traffic over here. Never good. Oh, look at that. It's coming out of the highway. Oh, but it's not backed up. But because it's an underground highway, I can continue the underground connection all the way to the bridge over here. I do have a video, if you're interested, that shows a double-decker bridge where I have, the upper deck and the lower deck. And it kind of works because what happens is the traffic will all take the lower deck for like a couple of minutes, and then it will all get on the upper deck, and it will switch back and forth between the lower deck and the upper deck. And it's very difficult to balance the traffic. The only way to really balance it is to make it so that they don't have every option on the other end. So some of them will be able to head in one direction, some in the other direction, etc. Usually I don't need a highway after this point. I'm going to leave it undeveloped for now. I'll add it later. The other thing is I used the bus lane on the expressway, which means I could add a tram if I wanted to. And the trams, I think they actually will drive faster on the expressways than on the lower roads. But you do run the risk of having a traffic jam here and there. So there is a possibility that I'll run a tram. And what I do when I run the tram is I take it on the exit and I put a stop right over here on the off ramp. And then the tram would take this stop, and then it would go and get on the next on ramp and keep on going. Because I don't want it to stop on the actual highway. I have done trams on expressways before, but you run the risk of, because there's a long distance that they have to travel, where they can't make the whole distance without having maintenance problems. So that's why I really don't use that method very often. Let's see how everything's going. I guess we're still a little bit backed up over here. The reason why is because when I transfer trains out of here, I transfer the line but not the trains, so it keeps the trains in for maintenance. I have 39 vehicles for maintenance and there's only a capacity of 16. So that's why they're queuing up. I really don't mind so much as long as they're in good shape and as long as there's room for all of them and there's room for traffic to keep on moving. Let's see if this is blocking traffic. The 13. It's probably not blocking traffic because I would have routed the traffic around it. But that is a lot of trains. I'm going to have to continue deleting trains from that depot when I have time. It's good to wait. And what's going to happen is some of these trains, like this one right here, is yellow because it's in poor condition. When it rolls in, That's going to be one of the ones I'm going to sell because it's going to have a lower condition. And the ones that have a better condition, I'm less likely to sell. Okay, so I'm going to show you the coverage map real quick. Look on the mini map. My coverage is pretty good. It's not 100%, but it's pretty good. I'm going to fill in these gaps over here running a bus line. One bus line that heads to all the gap areas. I'll show you how to do it in a future video. And I'm going to start building highways. I'm going to build elevated highways that go throughout the map so cars can get to different locations as quickly as possible. Okay, so that's it for today's episode. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.